Hello, welcome to Human Design Center. I'm glad that we share a common interest in human design, the science of differentiation, the art of living your life according to your unique design and genetic matrix that sustains it. Today, you are going to learn or recap, as the case may be, about DUBHE, Hexagram 12, Standstill, Caution. Hexagram 12 is part of second trimester of DUBHE, where we accomplish our purpose through physical form, civilization. In this second trimester, all the concepts and thoughts that were built in the first trimester are materialized in physical form in order to help our body, the form, to go through the journey of life. Gate 12 corresponds to goddess LAKSHMI, Hindu goddess of wealth, prosperity, abundance, good fortune, happiness, youth, and beauty. She is the wife of Vishnu, fourth trimester, the god that sustains the universe. Vishnu makes sure the universe stays together while Shiva, the destroyer, rips it apart. Zodiac sign, GEMINI. Gate 12 flows within the individual knowing circuit, which is about present, hearing, acoustic, melancholy, empowering myself and empowering others. Keyword, empowerment. Center, throat center, which is about communication, manifestation, metamorphosis, transformation through human interaction. The harmonic gate is number 22. Grace, openness, being part of the manifested channel 12 to 22, a channel of openness, a design of a social being. The opposite gate is number 11. Peace, ideas, amino acid, stop codon, relevant organ, thyroid, tarot card associated, 6 of swords. Gate 12, in second trimester, in LAKSHMI, forms the channel with gate 22, located in the first trimester of Alcyone, connecting to Mitra archetype. Proline of gate 22 reaches a stop codon in gate 12. The stop moment is in the throat center. Stop manifesting before impacting. Stand still before materializing or expressing emotions of 22nd gate. Be cautious. Stop communicating. We might say that Mitra stops when meeting the beauties of LAKSHMI in her 12th garden. He has to regroup. Maybe, just maybe, Mitra brought proline of his 22nd gate to this 12th gate of LAKSHMI, and they were together when mutation occurred in gate 12, dropping the larynx of human species. I remind you in this context that gate 12 is a gate that encloses the history of mutation some tens of thousands of years ago. The dropping of the larynx when people started to speak, to articulate. So this is a next level gate, so to speak. A stop codon is something that is easily understood as a general function in relation to amino acids. Otherwise, it takes a while until you understand or accept the functioning of gate 12. So, as a parallel, a stop codon is to protein synthesis what a period is to a sentence. Since a protein isn't infinitely long, biology created an incredibly clever way to say, stop, you've reached the end of this protein. In a plain language, proteins are brought here to the stop codon by ribosomes, and we need to understand this process biologically in order to understand the function watch stop or standstill in our body graph and in our lives. I will try to explain in my own simple language, non-medical, what I learned about. How does the ribosome decode the signals to stop protein synthesis? In cells, all proteins are produced by ribosomes that read messenger RNA 1 codon or 3 nucleotides at a time. Protein translation terminates when a ribosome reaches one of 3 nucleotide sequences that encode for stop codons. These sequences of UAA, ochre, 33, UAG, amber, 56, or UGA, opal, 12, are universal, signaling for translation termination in all kingdoms of life. This is why skipping a stop codon or stopping too early produces an incorrect protein, and this type of error is linked to over 10% of human genetic diseases. Thus, accurately decoding stop codons is critical for the normal functioning of all cells. Now, having all this mechanism in mind, let's go back to human design. Gate 12 is known as the gate of caution, or the gate of standstill, located in the throat center, which governs communication and manifestation. This gate is part of the channel of openness, 1222, which is associated with the expression of emotions and the ability to communicate deep feelings. Gate 12, in its highest expression, is about the potential for deep, powerful communication. It is the ability to communicate emotions, insights, and ideas in a way that is impactful and meaningful. But it also comes with a natural caution about when and how to speak. The energy of this gate involves timing, knowing the right moment to express or hold back communication. The right moment is the key. Timing is essential. Remember, we are in an individual circuit. We observe the same pattern to the functioning of the stop codon. It detects the right moment when to cause release factors to bind to the ribosome. At this point, no amino acid is added. We can think of gate 12's energy as having a form of pause or stop when it comes to communication. This gate doesn't always feel the need to speak. It waits for the right conditions or emotional clarity before expressing itself. If the timing isn't right or the expression isn't clear, the energy might stop or hold back from being expressed. Thus, in a metaphorical sense, gate 12 might be seen as a stop in terms of knowing when not to speak, when to hold back and reflect, much like a stop codon signals the end of a sequence, allowing no further actions to occur. This cautionary aspect is built into the nature of gate 12. It is not impulsive, but waits for alignment and clarity before speaking. The function of a stop codon is to signal the end of protein synthesis during the process of translation. Translation is when the ribosome reads the messenger RNA sequence and assembles amino acids into a protein. Stop codons serve as termination signals that tell the ribosome when to stop adding amino acids and release the newly formed protein. In essence, stop codons play a critical role in ensuring that proteins are produced with the correct length and structure, maintaining the accuracy of genetic expression. The reality is that ribosomes do not always stop at stop codons. Certain chemicals in your body can actually prevent ribosomes from detecting stop codons correctly. Likewise, 12th gate people. Sometimes they do not stop at the right moment. They are not cautious, and by doing so, their health might be impacted. Pay attention to the signals as we learn that, and I repeat, stop codon serves as termination signals that tell the ribosome when to stop adding amino acids and release the newly formed protein. Well, this is what I know about stop codons, and I tried to share in an easy-to-follow language. I hope it's useful for the understanding of gate 12. So since we've located the gate on the mandala and on the body graph, and we have a general summary of the essential characteristics of gate 12, now let's dive into the 12th gate message and energy. At its core, gate 12 embodies the wisdom of prudence, inviting individuals to pause and reflect before taking action. It symbolizes a natural inclination toward careful deliberation and strategic planning, guiding individuals to navigate life's twists and turns with grace and wisdom. In a world often characterized by haste and impulsivity, gate 12 serves as a reminder of the value of thoughtful decision-making and mindful action. Gate 12 is about the ability to cultivate prudence and deliberation in decision-making. Individuals influenced by this gate are endowed with the invaluable traits of foresight and discernment, guiding them toward consideration and careful evaluation of their choices. Those touched by the energy of gate 12 possess a natural inclination to restrain and to weigh their options meticulously before proceeding. The key words for this gate: the quality of restraint and the importance of meditation and inaction in confronting temptation. We have to realize that the 12th gate forms with gate 22, the only social channel for the individual process. That means this is the only way in which the individual mutation can go out into the world. This gate opens up to the solar plexus center, so it is under the same pressure as the 35. It is under the pressure of the solar plex wave. Everything about the 12th gate is about the specific nature of his voice, which says, I know I can try if I'm in the mood. This is the whole key to the 12, to remember. We give per message time to mature by standing still or contemplating a unique perception or feeling until in the mood to express it in a creative way through poetry or music, for instance. Above the lines, it says, the quality of restraint and the importance of meditation and inaction in confronting temptation. What about restraining? When and how to restrain? The 12 has to be restrained until it is in the mood. We talked earlier in relation to amino acids that this gate is a stop. I am not in a hurry here. I'll wait until I am in the mood. This is the essence of 12th gate behavior. For all the lines that will be presented in the following minutes, this is the nature of the 12th gate and how it operates. If you think of standstill, it's about the expression that comes out of a pause, a break in the action, a moment where the winds shift and the words and expression suddenly take a new direction. Or it can be a moment of hesitation. You know that situation when we're running our lives and suddenly we run into a roadblock and we have to regroup, take a breath, and evaluate what it is happening here. Also, with gate 12, it's okay to pause, to be inactive in word and deed until the moment is right to express. The human design, gate 12, is certainly a voice, but you might ask yourself, before using the voice, is it something really needed to be said? It's okay to have silence. In that silence, you might feel the need to have a complete review of your life and the path you've been following. After this stop moment of your life, maybe you find that you need to adjust that path, that you need to find new options, new ways forward. That's okay too. The essence of gate 12 is seen in our lives when we take the opportunity to go for a walk in the woods or sit in a park. This is when we allow ourselves to stop, to breathe. We stop being so busy in gate 12 because there is this inside need to find the right moment to be true to yourself. Walking through the 6 lines of the gate 12, it's a process that will bring clarity to you in relation to nuances of the content and expression of the 12th gate. At the end, we will touch upon the crosses of incarnation, where gate 12 plays its role and become part of the purpose. Let's see the 6 stages of development of this energy and possible dualism in its manifestation. Gate 12, line 1, the monk. Gate 12 is one of the 3 gates of aloneness and is about waiting and being contemplative. It is about restraint until one is in the mood, then it is the right time. A first line is the foundation of the hexagram. It's about introspection, investigation. Then we add up the keyword standstill and then the name of the line that we call the monk. So, introspection, investigation, standstill, monk. This is about the monk being isolated. This gate is not called standstill for nothing. This is about withdrawal. As we see in Venus exalted, withdrawal that can only be maintained with communal support, the beauty and harmony possible beyond the reach of temptation, the expression of social withdrawal and its value when supported by others. The temptation lies in the solar plex center and in actually committing oneself to trying to explain oneself. Remember, the 12th gate is part of individuality. It is a knowing gate, and every time that it makes a social contact, it has to be able to explain itself. If you are away from the social power of the solar plex center, you never have to explain yourself. That can be very peaceful. During that time, one can go through that process, allow the time for mutation to take place, and wait for that moment of mood so that it can be externalized. Even if everything feels like it's against you and everything's going downhill, just stop. Have a review. You still have your inner freedom. Nobody can take that away. Whatever the roadblocks are, whatever the holdups are, you can still be free in yourself. Withdrawing is followed by relating with those who appreciate your individual needs. So, by avoiding many social interactions, you find harmony in your own world. The more you can find those people who resonate with you, the better off you'll be. Jupiter in detriment. Simon the Stylite. Total and often absurd withdrawal. The absurd expression of social caution and extreme withdrawal from emotional contact. Through the history, you may have heard of some religious practices. Extreme, I would say, when it was considered spiritual to climb up on very tall pillars and sit up there by yourself. This is about total and often absurd withdrawal when Jupiter is in detriment. In the White Book, the expression of social withdrawal and its value when supported by others. In other words, if you are a 12 and somebody says, "Do you want to come and see me now? We have friends in the house." And you say, "I am not in the mood." They have to be able to accept that that is your nature so that later you'll be invited again. This is the meaning of being supported by others. It is the need for communal support. The other side, the absurd expression of social caution and extreme withdrawal from emotional contact. But it is related to your mood, about bringing mutation or not. If you are not in the mood, you can't bring mutation. This is the essential and basic lesson of the 12. And you have to remember that you will not be in the mood unless you have a mutation to bring. Mutation for an individual, at its simplest level, is the moment that you can explain an aspect of your knowing that has a mutative value. So here are two aspects to express. The moment that you can explain your knowing and you are in the mood, that is your opportunity to mutate others and bring them to a new knowing. This is how the process works. If somebody has the detriment of the 12.1 in an undefined throat, they may have extreme difficulty in being able to speak. This is a gate of articulation, and the 12.1 people with the detriment in an undefined throat can even be mute, or they go through long periods in their life where they do not speak. Gate 12, line 2, purification. Second line is about projection. You project towards other people. This line is called purification. What is being projected out here is restraint that says, "Leave me alone. I may not be in the mood, so why bother coming near me?" Rigorous withdrawal from negative influences. Negative means influences from solar plex energy before getting clarity. I know I can try if I'm in the mood. In this line, you can only say, "I know I can try," when you can explain your knowing. And so you get to the moment of the mutative capacity. Saturn exalted. The discipline to maintain a pure state. Exaltation of Saturn in this gate bring a sort of extreme isolation. People who really are isolated human beings, always projecting out that they are not interested. They always project out that they do not want to have contact with the social aspect at the other end. As you know about second lines, they do not know about their projection. Being a second line, they do not really know what is underneath and how much they may get out of that moment of contact. Second line doesn't know that this is about social mutation, that they are in a social channel. Mercury in detriment. The boredom that arises out of lack of stimulation. They do not know why they are bored, and they are restrained by not knowing why they are bored, why they are not in mood. If you say to them, "Why don't you come to my party?" they answer that they are not in the mood. But they really do not know if they are really not in the mood. They don't know why not to go to that party. They simply say, "I am not in the mood." And for them, it's a vibration they put out to protect themselves. I am not in the mood. I am not ready. I don't want to. But they do not really know why. They can get very confused by that. In the White Book, the expression of disciplined social caution, or caution that manifests boredom, and the expressed desire for stimulus. Disciplined social caution is about people that constantly say no, but then they get very bored. There is this sense of boredom that builds up underneath because they are not working on the mutative process. There is a part of them that says, yes, but what am I going to do? I keep on going like this. There is nobody here. We are dealing with a social channel here, and these people are not working for mutation of others due to their boredom that produces a lot of no. More than that, they are not coming up with their explanation for their knowing. That is the only moment that the 12 is free. It is a gate of articulation, literally, to be able to express the mutation. That means that you really have to be able to explain yourself, to bring it out into a social context. As a conclusion, second lines are very natural, even unsophisticated, and as such, they are very susceptible to being interrupted by other people. So, this is a reminder to be clear in yourself. Take your own standpoint. Be clear on what works for you and what doesn't. Embrace your principles and do not give others the opportunity to unbalance you. Gate 12, line 3, confession. A third line is about bonds being made and broken. And for this reason, it is impossible for third line people to be always still. They might feel or become deeply disturbed. They are constantly stepping into the emotional energy of the solar plex center, and the moment that is connected, they go through this process of trial and error. This line generates hatred. These are people that hate or are hated, and mostly, the hatred in them is self-hatred. They end up hating themselves. This can be a very brutal line, a lot like the martyr in the 10.3, which is part of the same individual process. These people can really be burned at the stake emotionally, which is another kind of scaring and burning. This line is about confession. Every time this person makes contact, it is necessary for them to explain themselves. We see this in Neptune exalted, the process of self-analysis, the recognition of inadequacies, and the purging of unjustified vanities. Remember that an individual has no business being social unless they can explain themselves. If they can't, they will get into a lot of trouble socially because not only will they be rejected, but they will have to deal with the wave on the other side. What happens to these people is that they put that energy out, and then they discover their inadequacies, and they begin an adaptive process of learning. They thought everything was going along beautifully, and then it all just stops. So, third lines always have to maintain a sense of humor. Remember to find the humor in those things that don't apparently work out right the first time. Everyone makes mistakes. The greatest lesson in life is to absolve yourself and not repeat them. Third lines are prone to a bit of messiness sometimes because they're the experimenters, the pioneers. They're always the first ones to check anything out. If these people get through this process in a relatively healthy way, they have an enormous knowing within them about what really works and when they can bring out this quality of knowing within themselves. If you have Neptune exalted, in any gate, you might already know that there is a specific process associated with this aspect that you have to go through, a process that is not clear, cut through the fog, wander through the darkness. This is the process of this exalted third line. Maybe, to soften this experience in the third line of gate 12, you might try to be really clear about what and how you are communicating. Is this a moment to speak? Is this the time to say something? Because whatever it is that comes through the 12 has the potential to be transformational. It can take things out of the ordinary and move them into something very new and different, real mutative. Mars in detriment. A perverse and often exaggerated self-hatred. People with gate 12.3 are so heavy on themselves. If you are a person like that, that is okay. But if you identify with being heavy on yourself, this is a tragedy. It takes years, 40 to 50 years, to go through all of this trial and error and to get to the point where you really can put across that explanation socially as a stranger and bring your mutation to others. In the White Book, the expression of inadequacies in social interaction that leads to self-analysis and caution, or inadequacies in social interaction that leads to the expression of self-hatred. The message is clear. Whatever you do, you cannot stop these people to hate themselves. They have to understand that if you have 12.3 in detriment, it is a mechanic process for hating yourself, but it will make the difference if they do not take it so seriously or personally. Do you know why it's so hard to do that? Because it's a third line. It is not transpersonal, which means it really does not understand the emotional system on the other side and can only learn through experience, and usually painful experience. But if we read once again in the White Book, there is something to observe. A perverse and often exaggerated self-hatred. We observe that is about often. It does not say always. So, it is not fixed. It might help them to recognize that often is not always, and to see out of that self-hatred that their failure of social interaction is not about them being inadequate. It is about them not having contact with the right forces. Again, it is a third line. It is not transpersonal. Gate 12, line 4, the prophet. This line is in the upper trigram. The mutative process is being externalized here. The fourth gate recognizes the other end, can see the solar plex. You remember that I told you earlier that here in the 12.4, humans had a mutation that took place in the larynx 80 to 90,000 years ago that allowed us to begin to articulate in what we call language. Now, the 12.4 is called the prophet. The externalization of this line is the ability to recognize and to deal with the emotional field on the other side. This way, this line is able to get the mutation across. They have the ability to foresee and plan for the end of standstill. They know how much to wait. They have this capacity inside of them to know exactly when the mood is right and to know exactly when they have the capacity to explain themselves. That's a very useful quality for a prophet. Otherwise, it's not about a prophet. So, if you have this line, the ability to know when change is coming and the need to be ready, anyone that's got the fourth line has the gift of sight. We might even call it clairvoyance. Your inner attunement with the workings of nature can foresee and express change. You can see into things. You must recognize that you can see the likelihood of outcomes. It might be scary sometimes. You might see the future, but have trouble relating it and knowing what to do practically. This clairvoyance is a gift, provided you use it well. Knowing the future and knowing how to tell to someone about this are two very different things. Some things can be revealed, others can be really disturbing or shattering for people. It would be useful to ask yourself, when you see something, how do you share it? When you prophesy something, when you see something, how can you say it in a way that's not threatening? How do you convey it in a way that makes people understand and feel comfortable with it? Please acknowledge your responsibility regarding sharing and informing other people about what you see. Earth exalted, the rousing of the stagnant for communal preparation. In the White Book, the ability to foresee and express the need for social interaction and an end to caution. It is time to get the word out. It is time to get this mutation going because without the emotional energy, it is not going to happen. Mercury in detriment, the voice in the wilderness, the expressed need for social interaction that falls on deaf ears. In the 12.1, we have people that can have extreme difficulties in articulation, and they can even be mute. In the fourth line, you have people with speech impediments. You have people who have difficulty in the way they articulate. The voice in the wilderness means that it may be very hard for these people to speak. These are people that can stutter. These are people that can go through all kinds of difficulties in terms of articulation. The expressed need for social interaction that falls on deaf ears. It is very hard for these people to get their message across. Everything about the externalization process is about opportunity. Prophets show up exactly at the right time, when people are ready to hear their word. Otherwise, it does not work. This is about being totally fixed on that moment, waiting for that moment to be able to externalize one's explanation, one's mutation, and to try to bring about some kind of social transformation. Gate 12, line 5, the pragmatist. You know that from the outside, people project on a fifth line. Here, the outside see that gate 12.5 is pragmatic, cautious, careful. The success of restraint lies in not abandoning the lessons learned when the phase ends. When the phase ends, what does it mean? It means when the emotional energy does away, do not abandon the lessons. Why? Because emotional energy will be back. Emotional energy comes and goes. Remember, the fifth line is transpersonal. It really knows what is on the other side. It can see the solar plex. People with 12 gate on fifth line know that each time the energy is there is a period afterwards in which they are going to be alone and they stand still and they go through their process, but they also know that experience of the emotional system is coming again and they are ready for that. The other projection on this line is that people see them as being much more social and accessible than they are. But because they get this social projection on them, they get a lot of experience. If they are clear each time about the nature of that experience, they finally are people who have very special social skills because they know when to be in the mood and how to interact when they are in the mood. Based on their skills, the fifth lines align with those aspects of their nature that are empowering. Fifth lines are the natural leaders, the guides, because they can see the potential outcomes of things. So, the fifth line people are able to empower others through what they say, what they express, and what they get involved with. You intuitively know the people, places, and things that are empowering, and you either utilize this gift or disregard it. You can see some of the potential things that might come out, and then comes this moment where all of a sudden, you get the whole thing. With their social skills, people with fifth line absorb all kinds of different input from all different sources, but they have to stay true to their own way. You might consider useful to find your own truth within all these different possibilities. Sun exalted. Light is always conscious of darkness. Mars and detriment. The tendency to remember only the most painful lessons learned. That is the awareness that you learned a lot about the social interaction, but there is too much that you do not like about it. This line gives you the circumstances to see that the social mechanism of the individual is not always pleasant, even if you can explain yourself. There are forces that you do not like to deal with, or it's not worth dealing with. In the White Book, caution as an expression of social experience, or caution which is conditioned by the most painful social experiences. So, it is about caution because they remember the most painful lessons. Because of that, they are able to say no and be very cautious out of that experience because they always remember it was painful or that it did not work. It is not about that experience to be harmful to them or bad. No, it was painful. It did not work. And therefore, they will not get involved with that again because they are, by their very nature, cautious, regardless of how social they are. Gate 12, line 6, metamorphosis. This line is called metamorphosis. Faith in an energy applied towards change and emergence from standstill. Sun exalted, creative transcendence that, when connected to the harmonic gate 22, through the channel of openness, leads to successful mutation and the emergence of a new social form, or a retrograde metamorphosis that has evolved a perfected adaptation to standstill. The capacity to mutate and express new social forms. It is obvious that in this line, you have the potential for real mutation, the mutation of the social form itself. This mutation has not come yet. We have minor mutations of the social form, but the real major mutation has not come yet. This sixth line is always waiting for this mutation. Amazing changes can come out of periods of standstill. If you have the 12.6 in your chart, You'll know that you can say something to somebody and suddenly everything changes, and it's because there's been a pause. The regular run of things has come to a standstill. There's a break in the action, and then the 12.6 can just say, this is what's going to happen. This is where it's all going. It can open the space for a huge transformation to take place. This line is about inventing its own rules. If you have this line, you stand apart from the normal expressions of social behaviors. Individual circuitry literally stands outside of the rules. It doesn't necessarily break the rules, but it has the personal resources to invent its own. In this moment of standstill, where the normal run of things comes to a stop, it lays out something completely different. It expresses completely new and empowering social forms. This can mean a complete change to the family setup, or the corporate hierarchy, or even society at large. It's just a total break in the continuity. The standstill offers an opportunity for great transformation, but you have to be correct by your own authority and strategy. Otherwise, it's so easy to be disturbed by the expectations and or resistance from others who don't want change, who can't see the vision. So, make use of the standstill. Make use of those moments in time where absolutely nothing is moving, and let's see what happens. Something else to outline for this sixth line: it does not care about being social or cautious. What they really care about is what is the mutation and what will it do. The next gate in the wheel is the 15, which is the love of humanity, and it is on the path to leadership. Gate 12 in sixth line is interested in what will do gate 15. Can it do for humanity using the energy of gate 15? It is very important to all 6 lines, in fact, if this social mutation is going to be of value to the totality. The capacity to mutate and express new social forms. It means that it is always possible for you, through your explanation, to bring a real change in the way in which people deal with each other. In bringing out this mutative energy, this is what slowly begins to change everything. Without mutation, there is no real change. Now, the perfected adaptation to caution that can accept social limitations. So, if you adapt perfectly to caution, and you are so cautious that you accept limitations, then you might be the type will just stand back forever, considering that this is the way it is, and nothing is going to change that. Why should I get involved? Why should I go through all the pain of dealing with their emotional wave to try to get them to a point where they can really be clear about what I am explaining to them? It is just not worth it because they are too confused, and we will never get this thing to work out. But, on the other hand, exaltation in 12.6 recognizes deep inside that it has a genetic capacity to change the emotional system. This line will truly be a metamorphic line in the moment that the solar plex center starts its actual mutative change. All of that will be expressed through this stream. But, like all 6 lines, you have to recognize that the nature of that is to be an example for others. The deepest thing that lies within the individual is, whatever I am presenting as an explanation, it has to be a valid example for others, or they are going to stone me, or they will see me as a hypocrite if they can't understand it. Then they will think that I am not telling them something that is valid or true. The 12.6 is deeply cautious, but at the same time there is magic in it, because it can bring deep mutation to humanity. Finally, you must be aware that this is an extraordinary 6th line for us all, because the next great mutation that will take place in humanity will take place in this stream, formed by gates 12, 22, 55, that runs all the way down to the 39. The mutation will actually take place in the 55.6 and will eventually find its manifestation in the expression through the 12.6. This will be the mutation that opens up what the voice referred to as our spirit consciousness. That is the consciousness that is possible to come up from the emotional motor. Now let's move on to a different perspective to see how the 12th gate sustain or communicate the purpose of life through the crosses of incarnation that are established when the conscious sun is placed within the 12th gate, 12th hexagram, right angle cross of Eden chapter 2, consisting of following gates 12, 11, 36, 6. Articulate yet opinionated people who take the loss of innocence to the level of an art form, the gift of expressing love and crisis in poetry and music. Your cross has the energy and drive to go and explore the world, but it really isn't just about you. This is the energy that compels you to bring others along on your exploration. This is the force that led us out of the Garden of Eden. This energy also has ties to art and bringing expression into form. This cross can go through a period of sadness, as there is a lot in the world. Juxtaposition, cross of articulation, consisting of following gates 12, 11, 25, 46. An exceptional spokesperson or teacher who has a rare and effective gift of vocal inflection which infects or influences others toward individuation. Your cross carries a special energy to be able to spread the word. Your energy is not just about the articulation of the words, but also the energy of love within the message. You have a gift to be able to infect people around you with what you say. Use your gift to make a change for the better in all that you do. Left angle, cross of education, consisting of following gates 12, 11, 25, 46. Effective lecturers who are looking for graceful listeners. People dedicated to using resources for the education of the masses, thus furthering global change. You are here to educate by way of the lecture. Your style is not really about sharing, but more about expounding to the masses who are ready to hear your message. When living within your type and strategy, you will find an audience who is open and receptive to hear what you have to say. You are here to deliver the word in whatever field that you happen to have a passion for. I hope this material is helpful and supporting for the development of your human design knowledge. Please share if you enjoyed listening and subscribe if you want to be notified about any new posting of informative learning materials regarding human design. Thank you.